Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unique Peace, the podcast all about peace. I am Janice. I'm a Reiki Master Teacher and intuitive medium on Long Island, New York. And today I am joined by the lovely Heilin Cordero. We met in Costa Rica during a retreat. She is a fellow Reiki Master and a divine feminine channel. So we were going to speak to Heilin today about all things peace and how she got to where she is. Good morning. You're on mute.
That's a great way to start. Hello, everyone. Good morning, Janice. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I'm excited.
Great and amazing conversation to have on a Sunday.
It is. It is.
Yes.
So, Heilin, you and I met at a retreat in Costa Rica. My now husband and I were there, and you were one of the facilitators. And yes. I want to kind of go back and how did you make not that connection, but how did you land as a facilitator? Let's start how you got there. Kind of give us a little bit of your background.
So my name is Heilin, as Janice has said. I am a Reiki master as well as a student of life. I began my journey with Reiki during my time in academia. So I was just a young junior in college.
You froze.
There was a little.
Yeah, it's okay.
Perfect. So long story short, I was offering Reiki to a really beloved client of mine. And she was going through her own journey, this beautiful unfolding. And one day she has sent me a text. I see it's freezing up a little bit. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. Technical difficulties. It's just
those two happen. Let me tell you something. There's some powerful energy happening here. So I ended up being invited to the retreat, and then Hardy, who had also paired us together for the song Reiki Circle, he ended up, really talking to me about what the retreat was going to be about. It was really a rebirth. It was going to be a celebration of life. And I was going to help to contribute to that celebration by offering my Reiki services. And just having that possibility, there was a big journey in all that, allowing myself to take that leap of faith into a new experience like you, Janice. I didn't know that many people, in the retreat as well, other than, Hardy and Sap and maybe a few others. So it was just a huge leap of faith getting to that place where I met you. But it already from the bat, God was telling me, like, that's how things start. When you take that first step, you're going to do it afraid, but you're going to do it. Yeah. And that's how it all happened.
And I want to go back to very first night, the day before the retreat, and discuss how our connection, because at the time when we first met, we did not know we would be working together during the Reiki and Song Circle. I had been invited at the last minute to contribute my services as a Reiki master as well. I was going to be paired with somebody. That's all I knew. And it's great how the universe works. So that first night, we had a very powerful connection because I was able to give you some very powerful messages. Now, this is the first time we ever met.
Yes.
So what was that like? Because for me, it was, I don't like making people uncomfortable and on the spot. And there's certain rules I follow as a medium where I just don't walk up to people like Teresa Caputo and say, so-and-so's coming through, this is what I do. I really bit my tongue. You saw my face. I didn't want to say anything.
I remember you just looking to the side like this, pausing and saying, "Can I ask you a question?" But really, it was really established before then, because you are indeed the quiet healer. So you also have this serenity about you when you enter into a space. Hello. And so I remember just kind of also sensing your energy, and in that moment you asked me, "Can I ask you a question?" And we really began to kind of unfold some of what I was really carrying.
Oh, I don't like technical difficulties.
There you go. So we were really just beginning to unfold some of the things that I was carrying with me, right? Because we all carry baggage. And of course, I've been through a lot of things in my life that have given me programs that have not been the most effective for me. So at the time, I was really carrying grief as a chapter of my life was ending. Just a year ago, I was finishing college, and I like a lot of young people, new graduates, had a certain idea about what I was going to do and how it was going to unfold. But life had different plans. So yeah. So when I met you, Janice, that was really kind of the peak of what was going to start to be a transformation. So initially, I felt kind of that softness from you, and I knew that it was safe for me to be vulnerable. And that's why, once you picked up on kind of some of my experiences, I was able to open up. And I don't know if I should talk a little bit more about some of it, but it's up to you.
No, I mean, it was that nice meeting that led to like that nice connection that we were going to need later on.
Yeah.
And I want to acknowledge the alternate universe for joining us.
Hello.
And I want to acknowledge Michael, my darling husband, who is out there.
Hi, Michael.
So from that moment forward, I feel like there's always been a beautiful connection. And I would like to kind of elaborate on how beautiful that connection is and how it's led to more peace in your life. That retreat in Costa Rica was an unfolding for you. It was kind of your lotus moment. You had to go up through all the muck and mire to reach where you are now. And so, my question to you is, how do you personally define peace? After everything you've been through, how do you define peace now?
I have a few words that automatically come to mind. The first being acceptance. Acceptance of what is, an understanding of God and how it does things.
There you are, you're back.
Yeah. Oof, so sorry about the internet. I don't know what's going on today, but oh,
No worries.
oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm so sorry. I
No
don't know
problem.
what's exact. Let me just double check the internet. Okay. I might have to log back out at some point
Okay. Thank you. Yes,
because,
no.
yeah. Okay. So for me, at this point in my life, peace really is just acceptance of what is, my connection to God, and fully embracing the role that I have to fulfill now. As a human being, as a woman, as a Dominican woman who's first generation immigrant in the United States, it's really coming to peace, at least for me. That's what peace has been. Because when I fought against what was meant for me, against my destiny, things have gotten very turbulent. So you know, I'll kind of start from the beginning a little bit, and I'll take it slow. Please, if the Wi-Fi does come off, what I'll do is that I'll log back out. What do you think, Janice? Okay. So I was born in the Dominican Republic, but it was kind of already a bit of a crazy journey. So my mom was a young woman of 17 years old, and then she had me. And if for those, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Dominican Republic, but it's a third world country, and it's a bit of a different experience. I'll say that. There's poverty, there's things that come up. As a child, I was also exposed to situations that maybe not most children would not. Thank you, Michael. Even the Wi-Fi is breaking up over here. And so by the time that I got to around 10 years old, my mom had decided that she would take us to the United States. And mind you, I was not feeling anything turbulent at the time. I was full of possibility. I was, that was really who my childhood self was, full of excitement, knew that it was a part of my destiny to take that journey. But it was also filled with some grief. I let go of my friends. I didn't know English. So I moved to a new country. It was really lonely, making friends at first. So already I was starting to understand, like, okay, life changes. At just 10 years old. Yeah. Life changes, and it changes fast, in a plane, in a moment. And so once I landed in the United States, it kind of became a journey of resilience, being able to continue moving forward, not giving up. And my peace became little things. So I think peace can also be activities. So peace for me became writing. Writing became a very big part of how I achieved that. I could see my thoughts on paper, and it made me feel less lonely. And then as I got older, peace also became communication. I love anything that has to do with that. And then not just communication from me to you, but communication with the cosmos, with what I believe is the universe. So that became something. And then oops. Okay.
She's going to come back in. Just give her a moment. There she is. She's back.
Doing a little exit helps. Sometimes we wish it could be like that in life, but where were we, Janice?
Writing brought you peace, and you felt less lonely, and then we were moving on to how communication has brought you peace.
Yes, which is funny because then right there, the connection, where communication is broken. So communication did that, and still does, and is a big part of my mission as well. And then I found the kind of what has been the most transformative of all these activities, which is Reiki.
Yeah.
And I know that many Reiki Master practitioners that have done that have gone into this world, that have opened that door, can tell about the story of those first few months, first few years. I don't know what it was like for you, Janice, but for me, I remember just sitting there listening about how energy was all around us, and how we could be filters, we could be portals to bring in energy. And
if you're not ready for that kind of information, it can take you back. it can take you back if you're not ready for it, to be very honest. I mean, as a medium, I was already aware of those things personally.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was finally honing in my skills as a medium, my first mentor was also an energy worker, and she's like, your hands are hot. I had no idea what she's talking about. And then I took my first Reiki class. I was like, oh, got it. Had my light bulb moment. And so, but if you don't have any um, pre-knowledge, for lack of a better term, it can be like, what are you talking about? But once you experience it and feel it for yourself, it's a different ballgame.
Precisely. And I think acceptance again just came up in my head. It's acceptance, right? I had also felt this calling towards it, but it
Mhm.
wasn't until I accepted that it could be something that I could do, that it could be something that I could offer, that I could serve, that I was actually able to experience it. So that became my new piece and has been for some time as something that I both offer myself and others. And then ultimately, that is the link that connected us,
Yeah.
whether spiritually or physically as well. And then to meet a fellow sister, but not be introduced to her it felt kind of like the fizzles. I think I felt, you know, kind of some warmth coming from your direction. And it's funny describing it in these terms, but it really is present. So
Yes.
Reiki has been what is my current piece, understanding that I am a piece of the puzzle, of this ginormous puzzle, and that through energy I can contribute whatever I can.
And that flows nicely into the next question I love to ask. How do you bring peace to yourself?
Mm.
How do you find peace? You've touched on writing, you've touched on communication. Where are you now?
I love joy. I love joy. Uh, I have my moments where I get quite low, but how I bring peace into my life now is through cultivating joy in my life. Sometimes, so on some days, it's a little bit harder because things are happening. Like I'm telling you, I recently had to go away from my childhood home and all these things. But then I see a beautiful sunset, or I have some really delicious food, or
Mm.
I listen to some really amazing music. And through, retreats like Costa Rica and other work that I've been doing, because I've been doing this kind of work for quite some time now, I'm able to be present in the moment. Going swimming. So it's for me, where I am now is I take the little moments and I just get so present in them that I'm able to really feel the pleasure of life.
Yeah.
And at least the way God has told me, it's like, hey, look, suffering is a part of life. That is okay. But if you can equally just as much enjoy the pleasures and really bask in what life is, you can transmute that and you can transcend any suffering.
Yes.
So
That's
that's kind of where I am now. Joy. That's how I've been cultivating peace lately.
that is beautiful. And that's actually very powerful because people don't think to find that the small moments of joy. People are thinking like weddings and birthday parties and celebrations, but there's small moments of joy. Good food, great music. I mean, how many times have you like put on your headphones or in the car blaring your song, singing along, especially when nobody else is in the car because that's usually when you have control
That's very silly.
over
Exactly. Yes, it's much simpler than I thought it was because my parents told me that in order for me to experience joy as an adult, I had to have this and that and this and that.
it. Yeah.
And it's true, but you don't have to be perfect to experience the joy of life.
No, you don't. You don't at all. And
Indeed.
that's very important. It's those simple pleasures.
Absolutely. What about you, if I may ask, Janice? Well, how do you define peace?
I define peace one moment at a time because every day you don't know what's going to be thrown at you. So you don't know how you're going to find peace.
Mm,
I mean, there are times where it's like I'm dealing with not with a client, but with my son, and we're butting heads, and it's just like, okay, finding a moment to breathe, or even it's like you're not agreeing with somebody, and you want to say you're right, and they want to say they're right, but it's like again, taking that moment of like, okay, they see it differently. Sometimes that's hard to remind ourselves.
yes.
So peace is like one moment at a time. It's like
One moment at a time.
how can I find it, that peace one moment at a time? Because we're not always peaceful. Life can be very chaotic. Life can seem like a struggle, and it's not easy, but it's like, okay. And it's like, I tell my son will even say, I need a moment, or like, I need to get away from you, or can you please leave so that he can have peace? And I need to do the same thing. There are times where I was just like, I need to
Mm,
walk away for my own sanity. I need to walk away to come back and work on this differently. And there's like projects that I'm working on where I get really frustrated, and I will like, okay, I need to step away from this because the answer isn't coming. So the piece is in finding the moment to step away and acknowledge like, okay, this isn't working. Let's take a moment. Let's take a breath. Let's take a walk.
walks do good.
Walks do good.
Mm,
Um, so as you're finding and
absolutely.
bringing peace into your life through these small moments of joy, how do you feel you help others bring peace into their own lives?
It's a great question. Looking back, I think as I've changed my close ones have also changed a lot. I'm not sure if that's on purpose, although I have a feeling it may have had something to do with it. But since I started doing, for example, shadow work, trying to understand some of my childhood traumas, some of the events that happened between my mom and I, or just kind of the natural procession of what it means to be a young woman in today's time,
Which is difficult.
it's something that we all need more guidance on.
Yeah.
So as I've done that, I found that for example, my parents have become more compassionate. They've become more understanding, so once I graduated college, I did international relations, and I kind of had this path in my mind of what my career would look like, what it would feel like. And then I started working at a wellness center in New Jersey, and that took me to a whole new route, including offering my Reiki services. So them seeing me walking this path, owning my authenticity, being true to who I am, I think has been a little shocking for them.
It usually is.
But yes, at first, who is this young lady? I said, this is the young lady you've raised. you know. But owning all that, I think they found peace as well through me pursuing my authenticity and my passion and my mission. While at first took some time, it's helped them find peace in themselves. They now are more authentic people. I think that at this point, how I bring peace to others is by being my authentic self. And that's very different, Janice, from who I used to be, because I used to think that I had to cater. How can I bring you peace? How can I bring you peace?
That people pleasing phase has it's difficult.
Done. But it's now I understand. I think you have to cultivate your own peace, and others can, kind of cultivate you. They can help to cultivate it as well. They can kind of boost you, but it has to come from your own choice. And you have to compromise, like you're saying with your son. Okay, maybe right now you do that. I stay here. Because it's part of what I also think peace is on a much global scale, which is diplomacy. You know, understanding like, okay, I do have a role in your peace. So now as a child, the relationship that I have with my parents is one where I want to respect them. I want to make them feel like they have the possibility of also going far in their own lives.
Mm-hmm.
And then that all comes from the fact that I'm at a point where I can provide them peace from being myself. So that's kind of how I've been bringing peace, I believe, to the people around me. It's just seeing beauty, sharing it with them, communicating it with them, being vulnerable, allowing myself to be seen. It's really interesting how these things work. I never thought that it could work like this. I really thought it was about offering and sacrificing myself. I thought that's what would bring people peace, but it turns out there's more to it.
Very interesting what you just said about being seen, because yes, I am the quiet healer, and my goal in life is to help others, and kind of add to that. But it's also, people aren't finding me because I'm not out there. I hate being the center of attention. It is my least favorite thing. Okay. And the universe has pushed me out of my comfort zone a couple of times really, really well. And it's done so with grandeur, by the way.
I bet.
One of those moments, and what I found, so, and what I'm so grateful for in the retreat, is when we got married. Michael and I got married, like, all of a sudden. And
Yeah.
me not wanting to be the center of attention. And I'm like, the bride's always the center of attention. I don't like that. I don't want to look at him. You know, that was like, you know, but what's great is that it was small enough to where there was no like walking down the aisle and all that pomp and circumstance in very tradition. It was both of us in front of Davy Joe. But what was great is what you just said, because I said the same thing to you later on that day.
I remember.
And you can't want to be seen. You can't, something along that. I wrote it down. It's in my journal. You can't expect to want to be seen, but not be looked at.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what you said.
And it's like, okay, people are going to look at you. You're going to do this. And those 30 people, I take a tarot class with a friend of mine. He leads the class, and many of my fellow friends who are also mediums are like, oh, you're going to do group readings, but nobody's ever like pushed me. He just kind of pulled me into the fire, and I did a gallery reading for about 100 people.
Wow.
So talk about being out of my comfort zone and being seen. So you allowing yourself to be seen is so great.
Let me tell you, especially being a facilitator,
yeah,
you know,
had to be seen.
First of all, remember I want to make sure it works because I see.
You froze again. Where are you? There you are. I hear you. There you are.
There it is. Hey. I remember one of the first things I asked you when I heard about the wedding was, how are you feeling about the fact that everyone's asking you how you're feeling?
It was overwhelming. Yes.
Yeah. But I resonate with you a lot about having that. I don't know if you would describe it as a fear or as just something that there it is. Oh. This connection is really doing it today. Okay. There it is. So remind me of the question again. I'm sorry, Janice.
We were just discussing the wanting to be, being visible, being seen, allowing ourselves to be seen.
Which is funny because we have all of these little disconnections. God works in very funny ways. So for me, me too, Michael. So I think for me at this point, I've always feared being seen a little bit, and it's just because growing up, I was an only child. I didn't get as much attention as I would have liked. We'll just call it that. And I remember being very curious about the world, but often feeling invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling as a child like I wasn't worth much. And not because I didn't bring something great. I thought I was great, but because I wasn't acknowledged for my greatness. And
Mm.
so at that point, I was like, well, if I'm not going to be acknowledged for my greatness, then I guess I'll just stop showing that funky side of me.
Right.
And that funky side of me, just little by little, it went away. And I didn't realize that that was me. And I was oppressing myself so that I would not be seen, so that I wouldn't get disappointed by the fact that someone I loved could not see me.
Right.
So being seen is something that I'm trying to make peace with, because I understand it's something I have to do. So when I was at Costa Rica in the retreat, there was a few times where I would get a little nervous, maybe a little anxious. And that I knew that was a manifestation of that fear of like, ooh, they see me, I need to, how am I gonna, and when I was able to let it go at a certain point. And when we were doing the song of the Reiki circle, I remember everything around me blurred.
Yeah.
I did not see anyone else except you and whoever was on our table. And in that moment, I feel I understood that when you serve, it's almost like everything else, when you truly serve from your heart, everything else goes away. The fear, the intimidation, when you truly connect to your heart as you serve someone else, I don't know if it's a science, I don't know. But for me, it blurred.
Everything else goes away. You don't hear anything. I mean, you could be, it's peripheral, but it's more focused on what you're doing and how you're doing it, because that person in that moment needs you and you can't divert your attention. If you're distracted, are you really serving? And that's something that's very important to remember. So, yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, it's my drive. I try to think about what I'm bringing to the table. And I think about that moment a lot, of me and you being there and just also working in synchronicity. And I think it was because everything else was blurred that you and I were able to connect in this way and allow the person between us to be the center of attention.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. It was beautiful.
And so learning all these wonderful things about yourself and adding to your toolbox, so to speak. What is in your toolbox that's your favorite go-to? Like, you're out with your friends, the energy has shifted, someone needs a moment. What do you pull out?
This is a cool question. What do I pull out? I got a few tools in the toolbox for sure at this point. I've had my fair share of battles. I've collected some weapons, and one of my favorite is always a hug. But not everybody wants a hug, all the time. So that's sometimes that works. I think for me at this point, and one that I'm working on, so even though it's a weapon I have, it's a weapon I'm improving, it's communication. Talking it out and actually listening.
There's the key. So many people want to talk, but nobody wants to listen.
Indeed. So in the past, that was not something that I would have gone to because I was a little bit more on the non-confrontational side. But I understand now that it's really the only way of de-escalating any situation, whether it's my personal life or my friend's life. my profession. It's just, hey, what's going on? And how can I help you? And I have to be honest, Janice, that's something that you taught me as well, even when we were together in Costa Rica, because you are so effective at talking through things. You're really, really good at just listening and giving, just that first interaction. You really listened to me, and you allowed me to get out that energy in a really effortless.
We'll wait for her to come back. There you are.
So you allowed me to, you showed me that from the beginning, that communication was divine. Intentional communication is an effective way to give others power and to serve others. So I'll
My
say
pleasure.
that
My
you
pleasure.
are truly a wonder.
My pleasure. Thank you. And I'm glad to have been a facilitator for that for you.
You're still showing me, I think you're still teaching me a lot. And sometimes I think life puts teachers in your way, and really important people who maybe in the moment you don't know, but long term they become very important parts of your life.
Yes. Yes. And you believe it or not, have taught me a lot because you taught me a different way to listen to young people. Especially as a parent. Because as a parent, we only want what's best for our kids, but sometimes that can come off as overbearing or intrusive.
Maybe sometimes,
I even tell my son, I'm coming from a place of love. He goes, I know, leave my room now.
I love that. He's like, oh my God.
He understands, but he's like, you still need to go away.
Yes. Boundaries.
Boundaries, yes. Mommy's working on boundaries. Accepting boundaries.
That's all that matters, okay?
And what else do you have going on? Are you doing anything? Where are you doing these things? What have you got coming up? Where can people find you? I know I shared your Instagram, but where else can they find you?
So, first of all, this being a guest on both your show as well as Michael's has really kind of ignited um, a previous love, a previous project that I've had in my pocket, in my toolbox for some time, which is that I also have a podcast. It's called The One Who Sees. It is on Spotify. So I'm working on being more intentional with the way that I work with that show. It for me it's really kind of a it's a project more than a podcast, because The One Who Sees is really about my story. It's about being able to see beyond and living to tell the story, basically, because I feel like that's really what my life has been about. So I have that podcast going, and I'm hoping that I can take some of my writings and start to share them, because I feel in my heart it's time. It's been a very private part of who I've been, and it's scary because I know that this is what this new chapter is going to be about. But I'm excited to share some of what I channel. And then of course with Reiki, that's always going to be something that I'm going to hold dearly to my heart. So I'm going to see how that unfolds. But right now on my radar, it's The One Who Sees, which is really the heart of my project. And I think about if I wanted to leave something on earth before I go, whenever that is, what it would be. And I can't think of anything better than a culmination of what I think communication is, of written poems and great words. So I'm excited, scared, and nervous for that. But you could definitely find it there. And Instagram, of course, as you said, Janice, The One Who Sees, indeed. It really, I can't wait to show you. And as of now, that's about it. And trust me, this project has truly been a big part of my life for quite a few years now, because I keep putting it on pause. The one who sees does not want to be seen. So
Now remember, in order to be seen, you have to be willing to be looked at. That's what I said. And it all came back. It's like, oh, yes, in order to be seen, you need to be willing to be looked at.
oh,
And
there's a
we
reason why.
see you, and a lot of people see you.
I'm so grateful.
And feeling your energy and not changing who you are to be seen. So those are all amazing things. And I guarantee you, now that me and Michael know that exists on Spotify, you will have 2 new subscribers to your podcast.
There's only 2 episodes. I promise, though, that I'm working on the next one. It's just I haven't even known where to start, because just in the last 6 months, my life has done a 360.
Bite-sized chunks.
Bite-sized chunks. One moment at a time.
One moment at a time.
And I think that's what I've been doing recently too. I know that the river of life will take me to all the places that I need to, and it'll show me all the great people I need to meet, like yourself. And I think I'm gonna put the one who sees in the hands of God, because I also know that just like how I've been at the right place at the right time, my work too will be seen by those who need to see and those who need to hear.
Absolutely.
As will yours.
Thank you. And I want to say thank you for joining us today and talking peace. This has been beautiful. Everybody who is listening and watching live, remember to go check out The One Who Sees on Spotify. And if you're watching the replay, definitely check it out. And I look forward to seeing how things unfold for you, Heilin.
Janice, you are a gift. I am so grateful that the universe has brought us 2 together and has helped us cross paths. And I can't wait what we do together too.
Yes. Big things coming.
Don't know where they are having me on this amazing show. They're coming, indeed.
So let me put you in the green room. I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on Unique Peace in this beautiful conversation with Heilin. Remember to go check out The One Who Sees on Spotify. And next week, I have the lovely and talented Heather Mays will be my guest. So remember to check that out as well. Thank you, guys, and have a wonderful day.